The roofing industry is broken, and we've got the fix. At Hire a Pro, we help homeowners do the same thing a roofer would do when it hails on their own house. Own the project, delegate the tasks, and keep the compensation. But you don't have to take my word for it. You could ask Chrissy. Chrissy, how'd it go?
It went great. You educated us on how everything worked, showed us behind the curtain, so to speak, and after our $25,000 roof was replaced, we walked away with almost $6,000 for the work we put in.
And what work was that?
We got the permit and we picked the color. Hire a Pro handled everything else. You did a great job, and I'm not even being paid to say that. If anyone's listening and has a storm damage claim, call them. Don't hire a roofer, hire a pro.
That's awesome. I appreciate the kind words, and I think you just made up our new motto. All right, Joe, you're up.
So if insurance has approved your roof replacement, give these guys a call at 651-402-3400 or visit them online at hirea.pro. That's hire, and then put the dot there, pro.
Hey, Garage Logic fans, I do a podcast on the Garage Logic Network that comes out every Wednesday and Friday now, twice a week. But here's an important caveat. There is zero logic available in my show, in the formal definition of logic. Of course, life is a yin and yang kind of thing. There's the logic side, and then there's the what the hell side, which needs to get its exercise. So come for the what the hell and stay for the you've got to be kidding me. Mishki, now Wednesdays and Fridays, twice a week.
Josh Arnold Investment Consultants brings you the Garage Logic Podcast, episode 1600XX, September 30th, 2025. 88 degrees the high temperature on this day in 2023, 26 the low in 1939. Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608 for a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
I wrote an open for this, Pat.
Oh, you did?
Listen to this.
Okay.
Listen to this, and it's not mean at all. GLers, say hello to Rosemont High School Irish alum with a BS in law enforcement from Minnesota State University, Mankato, former member of the Minnesota House of Representatives for 40B, and current egg checker in a back room at a supermarket near you, and driver of electricity-powered Tesla, Deputy Mayor Mr. Pat Garofalo.
Hey-o!
Hey!
Whoa.
What did he leave out? That was very efficient.
You're a Maverick?
Oh, yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah. I was there a long time ago when it used to be called Mankato State University.
I was a freshman the last year it was called Mankato State.
So you two are kind of like Eskimo brothers.
Well, it might be.
So to speak.
Some of those girls hung around a while. Hey, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hey, first of all, always good to see you guys. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Well, after
We're really bad.
interview yesterday, I'm depressed as hell.
Here's how it goes, Pat, off the air. Joe's going to be out next Tuesday. Do you guys want to work? And we go, nah, we don't want to work. And then Chris says, well, I'm going to ask Garofalo to come in. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll work.
Okay,
I'm in.
yeah. I don't know. Where is Joe at? Can we talk about this?
No, we cannot.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's all good. He's just taking a day off.
He's having
today.
some fun.
He's not like buying a yacht or buying a...
I honestly...
He said that until last weekend, apparently the Vikings were undefeated in Europe.
Yes, 4-0.
They had 8-0, including preseason. Or 7,
I did not know that.
Whatever.
Okay.
Again, fact check it. But apparently they were undefeated, and he found the reason why they lost.
What was that?
It's because Tim Walz was there.
Oh!
I'm not okay. I don't. Whoa! I am I'm not a big Walz hater. Okay, I'm not. But I am a super.
Give him a shot.
I am a superstitious sports fan. Yeah. So now it's like, All right, Governor, you got to come home.
Yeah, you're not going to London.
Don't go to London. We need this win.
Remember when he met with J.J. McCarthy in the preseason when they had training camp, and you saw his Vikings hat that still had the stickers and stuff on the side? I'm thinking, you fraud! Like you're not a diehard Vikings fan.
Well, is Nebraska is that Vikings territory? Or
Well,
I
guess technically it probably is. Yeah,
it's kind of like probably where the border is between the Broncos and.
Wouldn't it be KC? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like a Bermuda Triangle of sports fandom there.
You could kind of pick and choose. It's like Johnny Height. He just picks and chooses whatever team he wants to choose.
I'm 60, whatever years old. I've had the same favorite teams my entire life.
You know what that N stands for in Nebraska, right?
No.
Knowledge.
Knowledge,
Yes.
of course.
If you see anybody with the big N, red N at the airport, so you say knowledge, and they laugh right away.
Well, it's tough when they still reminisce about the golden age of Tom Osborne back when they were a powerhouse.
Yes. And they beat the Gophers 75-0.
I think there was a game. I could be wrong. Again, feel free to fact check this with the internet, folks. But I think they beat us 84-14.
Yeah, I think 84-13. Pat was the final.
Yeah, it's kind of when Lou Holtz had just gotten started, right? Mm-hmm. If I remember right. Do you know how hard that is to score 84 points?
Were we playing with 9 men on the field, or what's going on?
Pete Najarian has been on these airwaves over the course of the years and said that's the most tackles he's had in a game where he was going the opposite way, not running towards the ball carrier, but chasing the ball carrier.
Well, and of course, it was always just totally legit recruiting practices. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Check those shoes again and see what's inside there. The tongue.
It is interesting to see that. But anyway, so first of all, because it's all about me, right?
Yep.
It's a great weekend. My daughter got married this weekend.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it was nice weather.
Well, that set you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
She chose wisely.
The answer is yes.
She was pretty responsible. It was a wonderful day. It was a Garofalo family event with no fights, which is kind of a big deal.
Oh, is there usually a Tilly?
There's something. There's usually
fantastic.
There's something that happens. It's we're Italian, but there's some Irish blood in there.
Sure.
So if I'm going to offend people, I might as well offend everyone.
So was open bar an option?
Yeah. And so it was good.
Yes.
I shouldn't say open bar. It was select, you couldn't get the McAllens for free or whatever. But no, it was a great day, though. In seriousness, it was a great day. We had beautiful weather.
Yeah, you lucked out.
Everything went well. That was really fun. But I was talking before about the news. The news is awfully heavy right now. We've got this federal government shutdown that apparently is going to happen tonight. It appears that regardless of what we think, Russia thinks it's now at war with Europe, which means they're at war with us. We got that going on. Kind of a bummer.
I'm glad you brought up the government shutdown because there's been so many things that have circulated that have said this might end up being a good thing with the elimination of so many jobs or whatever that are pretty much unnecessary. But I know because many GLers have emailed us about that very thing. What say ye?
What I would say to our...
What are you at the Renaissance Festival?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say...
Huzzah!
I understand this, mindset of, we got to rebuild, burn it down, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you don't want that. This is you want to have an orderly plan of reform. You just don't want to start unplugging things. And the thing that's different about this one is they haven't really passed any of the appropriation bills. So I understand why the progressive left is frustrated and they want to fight Donald Trump. I'm just not sure that advocating for shutting the government down is really a prudent strategy for anyone involved, because ultimately what they are doing is they are giving him legitimate executive authority to just fund what he wants and defund what he doesn't want. And from his perspective, I'm sure he really likes that.
He's going to do it. He would do it.
Yeah, he's going to. And so I don't think it's very well thought out. But at the end of the day, this is going to be expensive. It's going to be wasteful, and it's going to cause more problems. So, the Republicans need the Democrats to vote to have the budget continue. So they can't they've got an agreement, and the Democrats have a choice of saying, we're going to hold out and vote no. If you don't agree with us, things will shut down. Or they can just say, listen, a government shutdown is so bad that we're just going to vote for the budget you guys have to keep things going on. It's not a fun choice for them, but for taxpayers or anyone who's following things, this is just not a
It's not ideal.
No, it's not. It's not good news. And then, of course, I think have we gone 2 days without any more federal indictments for fraud in Minnesota?
Well, that's a Johnny Height question. I did not monitor.
we don't have the millennium clock going where it just keeps going up and up and up.
Hey, I want to bring up a serious point though on this that I do have some concerns that they are indicting so many people for fraud, and they may be cutting back on the fraud so much that we may accidentally induce a recession in Kenya. This might cause.
Oh no!
This might cause.
Watch that be a talking point for Walz in his re-election campaign. We have to fight for our neighbors in Kenya.
Seriously, I want someone to track like the Kenyan real estate market to see if all the. I mean,
the Summit Avenue on Kenya, I'm seeing still a dirt, grass, a little hut back there for sale.
For your listeners or viewers on YouTube, we're not exaggerating about the fact that there is actually a lot of money going to Kenya. It's been in multiple indictments now. And of course, I want to give a hats off here to Congressman Brad Finstead, who he's introduced a bill. Apparently, we can't just go to Kenya and take the money back.
Oh.
I don't know. So he said something to the effect of, until you let us get our money back, we're not going to give you foreign aid. Which I'm that's an outstanding idea.
That's pretty good. That's a good trade-off.
That's a great idea. I love that idea.
Can you introduce that as here in the state of Minnesota?
No, Finstead's in Congress.
I'm sorry. That's right. I apologize.
So Brad Finstead, who's the congressman from the 1st Congressional District.
Okay.
He put in a bill where it's basically hey, if you're going to get this foreign aid money from us or military aid or whatever it is we give you, then you got to give us access or help us claw back some of this,
recover
money.
Some of this, yeah.
Or maybe that's just their foreign aid. You got yours already. We're good.
It's the Minnesota Supplemental Foreign Aid Program. Yeah. So no, that's pretty interesting going on with that. But the Lynx, I'm very surprised to see that the Lynx did not win the championship this year. That was the best team in the WNBA. And I got to tell you, did you guys see the head coach of the Lynx?
Yeah.
Reeve? Cheryl Reeves?
Yep. Did you see her rant? She is 100% right.
She is. However, her behavior on, was it Friday night when she got ejected?
When she went after that ref?
Come on.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you know? I'm going to ask you a question. Tell me if you guys know the answer if you knew this. Do you know the WNBA does not have dedicated officials?
I only did because of Royce.
I did.
That's the only reason why I knew that.
Are they like the Big Ten, like football guys before they were sanctioned?
No. They literally pull people out of the NCAA or people who do the developmental league in the NBA, which is insane because, again, without stepping onto this cultural landmine, women's basketball and men's basketball are two totally different games.
Sure.
Really?
Yes, they're very different games in terms of how you call and officiate them. Remember, the ball is smaller. You just have a completely different set of rules. So to just think you can be officiating a men's game and you can go over to the WNBA, they should have dedicated officials. And did you hear her quote about?
Yes.
Yes.
No. What was it?
I will not use the word. She said, well, first of all, she called for a change in the WNBA's leadership in terms of officiating, which she's right.
She basically called it out from the top down, Ken.
Top down. And then when she described the officials from that game as it was appointing these people as officials for this game in a semifinal of a championship game is effing malpractice, except she didn't say effing.
Wow.
She dropped the bomb. And then there's a coach from, I think it's Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Who
the Fever?
Yeah, she came out and she's like, yeah, she's right. So good for her.
Well, and she's getting Caitlin Clark's getting the crap beat out of her.
The point of that, though, while everything about what she said is probably factual, that's the kind of thing, though, when you speak out about that in a league, that's the kind of stuff that gets you blackballed.
Yeah, but Chris, I've never seen a game, but all I see on social is highlights, like Matthew said, of Caitlin Clark getting the shit kicked out of her.
Right.
Well, on a game, every single game. And same with that new girl, Sophie, who came along to protect her. They just get beat up every night.
But it goes beyond that, too, is that take a look at last year. The Lynx got screwed in the championship game. Yeah, right? And the commissioner comes out wearing a shirt with the New York skyline on it.
That was a bad look.
You guys, can you just imagine? I want you to imagine
Goodell.
Their award. Yeah, Goodell
wearing a Kansas City.
Or anything. Oh my gosh, they'd melt. Like what level of tone deafness do you have to do that? And then earlier this year, I don't know if you guys saw this, they announced the WNBA Coach of the Year, and it was actually the team from. Is it San Jose or it was the expansion?
Okay.
It was the expansion team. When they announced the winner, she didn't know how to pronounce. The commissioner didn't know how to pronounce her name.
Oh
boy!
That's Handler 101.
So when we're talking about like basic levels of competence, you can really drill down into this stuff and look at like who does their MVP voting over there. Apparently, it's like a state secret. They don't reveal it and stuff, but they do. I mean, as the WNBA continues to get more popular, and I think it will. They do need to have competent administration running it, and good for the Lynx coach for Cheryl Reeves for calling this out. I mean, I know it's probably not the most elegant style, right? But her point, like they were beating the shit out of her that whole game.
Yeah.
And you saw it. She had 0 free throw attempts.
Yeah.
Like, come on, give me a break.
I did not know that. I did not have WNBA talk on my bingo card here in Garage Logic. However, I will say this.
Rarely does it come up.
I will say this. I am willing to personally sacrifice my livelihood, my existence here on the planet, to be the test dummy for Sophie Cunningham to see how much she can dominate me. I'll just say, hey, you know what? I'll be here. Let's say training purposes, what she can and can't get away with. I'd be willing to do that.
Okay.
So I will say this, that
it's like donating your body to science.
Correct.
I do follow like pro and college football more, but anytime I bet on something, I follow it a lot more closely. And with Caitlin Clark is like, there's a case to be made that this woman's from another planet. She's so good.
Yeah,
I mean, it is truly incredible how great she is.
So you and I chatted the other day. I did not have a chance because there was another show that had to come in here after Monday Night Sports Talk to record some things. So I didn't have a chance to pull up your predictions. But we have a couple of minutes for the break. Did you want to go over some of the predictions that you made the last time here in GL and either tout those as heroic victories, or did you want to be humbled a little bit? What would you like to do, Mr. Garofalo?
Oh, well, I mean, I only acknowledge my successes. I deny my failures.
Just like a talk show host. Yes, absolutely.
No, I would say I'm going by memory here. But I assume that I supported Ashton Genty to go over 1,250 yards for the season.
Okay.
And after his game on Sunday, he had a slow start the first 3 weeks, but he had a great game against the Bears. And so he is close to on pace to hitting that target, so that's good. My second prediction probably would have been that I said the New Orleans Saints are like a sub-professional team, and I hit the nail on the head on that because they're 0-4. They might win this week, though, against the Giants, but they're 0-4. And then the other one I think I probably would have said is that the Lions are going to fade a little bit. And they started off cold against Green Bay, but they've won 3 in a row. So we'll see where that turns up. But I still think that with the Lions, they're going to have some problems.
Did you remind me? Did you predict Johnny Heights Packers losing to the Cleveland Browns, or was that not on your was that on your prediction sheet?
No, but I was happy to see it, though.
Yeah, me too.
It was great.
Yeah, it really was.
We talked about this before, but I'm in these NFL Survivor contests where
I'm really mad at myself for not getting in the one that you were talking about, by the way.
So just for people, and if interrupt me if you want to go to break, but I'll start.
You're good. Go ahead.
So the way these contests work is that at the beginning of the year, you pay a certain amount of money into a pool, and each week you just have to pick one team to win. That's it. But you can only pick them once, so you can't pick, the Baltimore Ravens every week or something like that. And so last year I had a very successful entry at a pool out in Las Vegas that was $1,000 to enter. So then this year, instead of buying 1 or 2 entries and putting a bunch of money into it, I actually have partial ownership of 5 separate entries. And last year it was carnage. Like everyone was getting wiped out. There were so many upsets. This year, there's actually hasn't been a lot of upsets, but I'm happy to say that all 5 of the entries I'm in are still alive. They're still going on. About 1/3 of the entrants in the contest, it's called the Circa Survivor Contest. It's named after Circa Casino in Las Vegas. About 1/3 of the entries are gone. But now the bye weeks are starting, and now you start whittling through the best teams, and every week my phone blows up with text string arguments with my friends and about who we want to take and not take. And of course, I think I'm right and I think they're wrong. But it's a lot of fun. And that's where I put a lot of my. I was very, very happy to see the Green Bay Packers tie the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night.
How does that work? Is it a push?
Tie is a loss.
Really?
Yeah, to survive, you have to win. So,
Wow.
Yep. So if you tie,
So even if you picked either of those teams, you're out.
yeah, well, only someone with low level brain damage
Would have picked the Cowboys, right?
But yeah, there were people in this contest. I think there were a little over 400 who had taken Green Bay, which was you would have thought would have been a safe bet.
Yeah,
right?
but you never pick a road team.
Well, sometimes you have to, but in that situation, I would agree with you. I mean, what you want to do is you want to pick teams that aren't going to win a lot. You want to pick them early if they're in the right situation.
Correct.
So, for example, this week, I advocated for taking the Houston Texans, even though they were 0-3, because they were playing the Tennessee Titans.
Who are god-awful.
And I'm not exaggerating, you guys, they may not win a game all year.
No, they're that bad.
Like these survivor entries just may end up with a bunch of winners because people are just going to fade the Titans as much as they can. Right. But I mean, their passing statistics, I think they're averaging like 130 yards passing a game. Their total offense is about 210, and they are bad. They're bad. So, anyways, I advocated for the Texans, and that worked out. That lets you save another team for the future.
Quick question before we break. How many of those 5 different survivor pools are you going to have make through the season to cut off the expense of the wedding for your daughter?
Well, remember, we helped prepay for the wedding with my winnings from last year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
We made $30,000 on that last year.
Forgot about that.
So no, but it's a lot of fun, and again, it's the same contest. You can put in up to 10 entries. So the Circus Survivor contest, I have parts of 5, and it just makes what it does is even the teams you pick, you're a fan of that, but then the games other people pick, you want them to lose.
For sure.
So you are immediately supportive of just chaos and like the Chargers losing to the Giants. Great news. Loved it. Absolute good time.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
Here we go.
By the way, he's very angry today.
Welcome to the club.
Here's a guy.
Here's a guy that needs to do a Seafoam ad.
Josh writes, "Good morning, Kenny. My daughter recently passed her permit test, and behind-the-wheel training is now underway. One of the training missions this weekend was a gas station and the operations thereof, including the art of cleaning a windshield. And no windshield in Minnesota can truly be cleaned without the power of Seafoam Bugs Be Gone. I introduced her to the red and white bottles stashed in the back seat, and Viola, she's a Seafoam customer for life. Time marches on, but at least one thing stays the same, the reliability of Seafoam products, and it's a joy to introduce these products to the next generation of drivers. Wonderful products in a world of new drivers. Seafoam, boy, ain't that the truth, Josh? Seafoam, they've been soothing cylinders and preventing gumming since its invention in the late 30s, and by the time Seafoam hit the market in the early 40s, word of mouth had already created a demand that continues to this very day. The motor treatment, the deep creep, and of course the now legendary Bugs Be Gone. Just a handful of Seafoam products that should always be in your chemical cabinet. Josh said it best: wonderful products in a world of new drivers. Seafoam. I hand the microphone to Pat.
Well, thank you, good sir. So I got it. Like, you guys seemed especially amped up today. Did you guys have like some super amounts of caffeine before?
I'm trying to think. What's super? Is 2 or 3 cans of Monster Energy super?
Oh my God, I believe it too.
That would be a Red Bull. Yeah, that does it.
Well, okay, I can speak for myself. We had Rick Kupchella on yesterday talking about A Precarious State, a documentary that's going to run Thursday night on ABC, KSTP, locally here. And I got to tell you, I was even more outraged about even the things I already knew. And this just seems helpless. All of this does. It seems helpless.
Well, it's not, though. That's the thing. People can debate about the causes of this stuff, but the first thing is to acknowledge it's happening.
Right.
Right. And so last time I was on, I talked about this, that if you want to be hopeful and optimistic, and I can't believe I'm saying this again, but if you want to be hopeful and optimistic about how quickly things can turn around, look at what's going on in San Francisco. It's amazing. San Francisco used to be this great American city, and then they went into the ditch. Things got awful. They had people defecating on sidewalks, and at some point, people just had enough. And they turned the corner with common sense policies, and San Francisco is rebounding. Like, crime is way down. People, the residents are very happy with the trend things are taking. And the primary reason why is accountability. It's just accountability in all things, whether it's public safety, administration of public funds, respect for the taxpayer. It's accountability.
Who is enforcing that accountability?
So there's a couple of things that happened. First of all is they had a district attorney, I guess their equivalent of a county attorney out there, who just wasn't prosecuting crime. They got thrown out on their fanny, and now they have someone who's actually charging people. When the cops go out and arrest people, they're charging them and they're holding them accountable.
And that's where it starts.
It's multifaceted. That's one of the things. The second thing is they empower law enforcement to keep the streets clean. And I think one of the frustrating things for a lot of residents in a place like San Francisco is when they would host these international summits or they would have these, big events, the streets would get cleaned up and everything would be fine.
I remember, was it China?
Yeah.
When President Xi showed up and they ordered, it was almost as if it was a different time.
Right. And so you can understand, and these are, San Francisco is not a bastion of conservatism. Like, people, they want to be able to walk their kids to school without seeing, somebody taking a dump on the sidewalk, or be able to go to a convenience store and purchase products without having rampant theft, stealing everything and closing these stores. And things and what happens is when you restore order and safety, it's a cultural thing. Now people feel more likely to go out to the entertainment districts, to go out and the hospitality industry rebounds. There's more foot traffic. It's safer. It's a positive feedback loop. So this stuff, when it comes to public safety, it's a very easy problem to fix. It's you enforce the law and you hold people accountable. A very small number of people are the ones who engage in violent crime. That's why it is mind-numbingly stupid what the Hennepin County attorney has suggested, that if you pull someone over for a broken traffic light or something like that, and in the process of that you discover that they're a felon in possession of a firearm, there's evidence of a other crime, that she's not going to charge them. You know about this, right? What I'm talking about? So this sort of stuff, if you came to me and you said, hey, Pat Garofalo, I want you to increase gun violence in the Twin Cities. I want you to increase violent crime in the Twin Cities with one proposal. What would it be? Well, it'd be when repeat offenders commit violent acts, don't enforce just let them go. Just put them out on the street. Right. That is a guaranteed way to make sure that you're going to have higher crime.
Well, and the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department came out and said that. You're not allowing us to do our jobs.
No, and again, it's one thing to arrest, it's another thing to charge, and it's another thing to convict. But you have to hold these people accountable. And we're talking about a very small segment of society that engages in violent crime. And if you're going to have county attorneys have broad discretion on what that's the way the system is. If you're not going to charge and you're not going to prosecute and you're going to give sweetheart plea bargains to people who are continually committing acts of violence with guns, you're going to get more acts of violence for guns. Now, is that the only thing? No, but it's a huge thing. But I know, so on the public safety side, you got that going on. But for the area that I was interviewed for that documentary, and the thing that I talked about was wealth migration. and the amount of money that has been and is leaving the state of Minnesota.
What were the figures again? Because I know I saw it and I referenced it yesterday, but what are the figures off the top of your head?
So before I give you the number, it's important just to understand, because I want to be precise about the information. This is information that comes from the Internal Revenue Service. Like, Pat Garofalo doesn't make this up. I'm a nerd.
Sorry, okay? Right-winger Pat Garofalo.
Yeah, right. Proceed.
Right winger who doesn't like Trump, drives an electric car.
Right.
Voted for gay marriage.
So Democrat?
Yeah, that's me. Legalize marijuana. That's me. Right.
Yes.
Far right wing. Yeah.
But anyway.
But that is that's kind of the funny part about it. But so I want to be very precise about talking about this. Is data from the Internal Revenue Service. They publish it every year. And one of the things they say, they have migration tables that shows this is the amount of income that has left your state. This is the amount of income that has migrated to your state. And contrary to public opinion, the IRS knows where everyone lives because that's how they collect the money. And so in the most recent year available in Minnesota, we lost on net. I want to explain this. This means you take all the money, adjusted gross income that left the state, subtract the money that moved back from other places. In 1 year, we lost $2 billion of adjusted gross income.
Wow.
Okay? So I am happy to have a debate with people about what are the factors that are leading to this, what are solutions we can implement. But the net effect, this is a big problem. And we've seen this happening in other states, California.
And you brought this up when you were still in office several times.
I've been on this kick for years.
How long would you say?
5, 6, 7 years. I mean, it's been a long time because it's a weird anomaly. And you look at it and go, okay, was this data right? Like, what's going on here? And of course, there's always going to be some excuses where people say, hey, when people retire, they want to move somewhere warm. It's like, okay, well, but people retire in other northern states too, and shouldn't we?
But the point Rick made yesterday was we've lost a lot to Wisconsin.
Yes, and that was one of the things I pointed out to him is like, okay, you can talk about you can't compete with the climate of a Florida or Texas or Tennessee.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah.
But why is so much money going to Wisconsin? Like, why are other states who are in our situation not seeing this? And again, I'm happy to have the debate with anyone who listens, but for your listeners, if you're of the mindset that it's like, geez, it seems like I'm paying more in taxes and I'm not getting more government services in return. In fact, I'm getting lower quality government services. The reason why you feel that is because that's exactly what's happening, is that you are having a lot of tax base leave our state, which means the rest of us have to soak up more of it.
You said $2 billion. What fiscal year was that? Was that just most recently, or was it a couple of years ago? Or not that it matters, but
it doesn't go by fiscal years. It goes by calendar years.
Okay, so the reason I guess I asked that is, what percentage is $2 billion? Meaning, what is the normal amount of revenue taxed in the state of Minnesota determined by the IRS?
Well, so it's adjusted gross income.
Okay.
And again, I'm trying not to put, for those listeners who are looking to slumber before I'm trying to avoid staying away from going into that, but you have to look at it as kind of on a percentage basis. And it's under 1%, but it's cumulative. Right. So if you're losing just under 1% of your AGI every single year to migration, it's not like this is a 1 year blip and then you're done.
Correct.
It stacks and it keeps going up and up. And especially in Minnesota, where we have a top income tax bracket of 9.85%. Remember, we rely on our income tax way more than other states. So if you have a small subset of people leave, which is what these migration numbers are showing, then you're going to have big problems in a hurry. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that we had an $18 billion surplus.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, did that disappear in a hurry, right? So there's that component of it. That's one side of it. Now, the other side of it is, okay, you're seeing a net number. What's the number going out and what's the number coming in? And what we are generally seeing is the people who are leaving Minnesota tend to be upper income people who are of financially well means. We are importing people with low education levels, low skill sets, and low incomes. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as the people come here. We get them into our awesome education system. We get them trained up. We get them to be highly productive. They're paying taxes and they're contributing to the system. That's fine. The problem is at the exact same time we've seen this migration, we've been seeing academic performance decline
rapidly.
Right? So on key verifiable metrics of wealth migration, educational outcome, public safety outcome, private sector investment, we are seeing Minnesota in a best case scenario as stagnation, and in a more realistic estimation, we're in decline. Now, there's some exceptions to this. Like Rochester is a boom town, right? The Destination Medical Center with Rochester Mayo, who, remember, 2 years ago had to threaten to leave Minnesota because there was this silly bill at the legislature that would have basically, they would have lost control over their staffing.
And they made an exception for them, correct?
They didn't pass it.
Or that's what it was.
It was one of the few things they didn't do because Mayo said, listen, we're going to cancel this project. We cannot put this amount of investment into Minnesota when we don't have control over our personnel and staffing. They went to war they got in a fight with the nurses union and they won. It was like one of the few things so you have on these key metrics though, public safety, education, wealth migration. We're seeing Minnesota in a flat and declining environment. Now, the good news is this stuff can change, but before we can have a debate about the best policies to turn Minnesota around and fix things, there has to be an acknowledgement that this is happening. And for some people who are invested in the current political machine in Minnesota, there's a great reluctance to admit the problem.
Well, and on a much minor level, I remember last week Johnny Hyde had in his newscast about the debate that we had for the Minneapolis mayor's office race and how one of the big bold statements that Omar Fateh made was fighting for the rights of Uber and Lyft drivers here in the city. I thought, wait, time out here, Omar. You're the one that almost single-handedly shut down operations from Uber and Lyft that said, we're not going to pay this because it's not going to make our business financially feasible.
No, the funny thing is that law that they passed was essentially the law that Mayor Fry had negotiated with Uber and Lyft. Like all this posturing, and basically it was like Uber and Lyft were willing to have some level of regulation and support this stuff, and Mayor Fry had already done that. He had already. So, as usual, it's about the optics and the politics of it. And you kind of branched off into that Minneapolis election. And gosh, I just people who live in Minneapolis, I hope you're. There's plenty of things I disagree with Mayor Fry about. Right, he's a progressive Democrat. I'm more of a centrist in the middle kind of guy. But they
to your point about people leaving the state and the migration, I've got several guys that are my age that are retired. Mm-hmm. That they all meet down in Naples. They're 6 months in a day.
Are you retired?
No, they didn't let me in on how to make a bleep load of money. I'm still laughing at fart jokes on the radio. But they all meet downtown. They all live in Naples or Fort Myers, and they're done 6 months in a day.
Well, here's the evidence of it. Look at where some of these politicians go for fundraisers. You go to Western Florida. Go on the west coast of Florida. Okay, if that's not evidence of the problem, and I am willing to accept that again. Part of this is cultural, right? Part of this is, as a society, we've become less tolerant of cold weather, right? So you do see some of this. In addition to that, you understand that demographics, as the baby boomers get older, you're going to see more of that impact. That's why it's important to compare Minnesota to other states in similar situations. We are bleeding more money than other states like us. And again, you brought up the reference to Wisconsin. All of this stuff is... It's all the IRS data is all out there, and you can look at it. And it accelerated during COVID. Then the quantities of people, the number of people, tapered down a little bit, but the wealth skyrocketed. The wealth migration skyrocketed.
Sure,
it's a very real problem.
I don't understand. Hold on, I don't understand that. Tell me how the wealth migration skyrocketed
and the quantity went down?
Yeah,
because
explain that.
Because you had more people coming to Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that makes your net migration number smaller.
Gotcha.
You had fewer people leave Minnesota. So that makes your wealth... This is just one way. We're not talking net. Okay.
Right.
So
okay.
You had that be slightly down. But the people who left had more money. Did I lose you or do you got...
All right. I'll just keep going. Keep going. I'll check with you, Kenny.
So basically what ends up happening is we're looking at net numbers. We're looking at number of people leaving, amount of money leaving. Number of people coming here, amount of money coming here, and then we're subtracting them and we're getting a net number. And what's happening is the wealth migration numbers are skyrocketing. Again, $2 billion of adjusted gross income in 1 year. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And people can debate. Let's have a debate about solutions to this. But before we can get to that, there has to be an acknowledgement by serious policymakers that this is a problem, because it is a real problem.
Well, go ahead, Ken.
Could the 18 billion surplus change? Could that have changed anything if that was used more fiscally responsible?
Sure, that would be part of the tapestry of that, right? I mean, part of this is that for many years, we have been told the pathway to a more prosperous Minnesota is that we invest more in our public sector, that we just pay higher taxes more. I mean, this goes back to when Mark Dayton was governor in 2013.
So if Republicans had the control of the House and Senate the way Democrats did when we had that surplus, what would have been different? What would have happened to that 18 bill?
Well, the first thing that would have happened is I think you would have seen a dramatic reduction in fraud. That's I mean, so I think this is.
What do you mean? Because we had so much money that the coffers were spilling over and nobody was paying attention.
No, we don't need any more laws to make fraud illegal in Minnesota. It's already illegal. There just would have been more competent administration.
I have a real Sesame Street, really basic, almost stupid approach to the 18 billion. Why not just give it back to us?
Well, that would be part of it. You can also do things like pay down debt. You can also reduce the burdens that are on property taxpayers through adjusting the level of government that are paid for at the county level versus the state level.
I do understand that.
But what you don't do is you don't just make a bunch of promises and set yourself up for structural deficit in the future, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah,
you put a lot
piled on top of it.
You put a bunch of commitments onto the taxpayers without the revenue to pay for it.
Yeah,
you have drone flights with a big press conference that say, "Look how great things are," and acknowledging the fact that we're in a case of fiscal decay.
In your Sesame Street scenario, would you be maybe possibly Oscar the Grouch?
Yeah, I'm the guy in the.
Dang it!
I'm the guy in the trash can. Everybody knows that. I mean, look at me. Come on.
No, but I mean, in seriousness, I understand, the give it back, and we should have. Remember, Tim Walz campaigned on big rebate checks. Remember, he was going to give it back. There were supposed to be really big rebate checks. He campaigned on it, and then when the Democrats got total control, they decided otherwise.
Yeah.
And so certainly, there could have been life-changing rebate checks to people, and at the same time frame, we could have done things like put investments into chemical dependency and mental health treatment that in many ways do reduce the likelihood of some of the horrible things we've seen happen in Minnesota. Those are things that could have been done in a sustainable way, and they chose to spend the money elsewhere.
Mental health is one of the things I wanted to ask you about today, but we're already running late.
Well, do you think that that's a case where when Mike Lindell becomes governor, he'll be able to make sure...
Pillow in every bed. Pillow in every bed.
Man, I tell you what.
Anyway.
Why don't we pick up that topic on the other side of the break?
We should.
Let's address that.
How about first I talk to you about our friends at Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Here's the deal, GLers. It's a proven weight loss program that's built for anyone. There's no medications. There's no workouts required. There's also no fasting. You eat to lose weight. Increase that metabolism. It's a solution that's worked for over 800,000 people. You have a clear daily plan. There's no complicated tracking or counting. You get one-on-one weekly coaching for accountability and also adjustments along your path. And your coach can even help you pick out restaurant menu items. In fact, I just did that this week with Emma. It's an at-home program that's built for everyone. It's easy to stay on track anywhere because you've got that sweet app that's going to track everything. It's built for any lifestyle, busy schedules, likes, dislikes. It's adapted to you. You can still go on vacation. You can still go out. You can still tailgate. You can still have drinks. Thousands of recipes so that meals don't feel like diet food. Anyway, check it out for yourself. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, 180. Awaken180weightloss.com or call them today at 844-346-1800. Get started now at awaken180weightloss.com.
It's a Play for Patrick Positive Tuesday. And of course, it's brought to us by Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They're in Shoreview, 1060 County Road E. All things related to auto care can be had right there at Schoonover's. The first screening of the fall is nigh upon us for Play for Patrick. Hello, Mike Schoonover.
Hello, Kenny. It's good to be here with you today, buddy.
Can I just say two things? Dover Iota, Dover Iota, Dover Iota. Everybody say it fast. Dover Iota. That's such a fun two-named combined school district to talk about. Dover Iota, southern Minnesota, just east of Rochester. Lovely part of the state. And you guys are going to be there on Saturday.
We are. We're going to head down on Friday, but I wanted to take thanks for sneaking me in a couple of days early here on a Positive Tuesday so we can maybe recruit a few more volunteers for the afternoon and get our participation numbers over 200, which I think we're going to be able to do. So there's still time to register for both participants. Kenny, we have lowered the age. We in the past we've always screened some 13-year-olds, but we only we kind of advertise 14-year-olds. So we've made a executive decision, and we are going to be able to screen 13-year-olds. So our docs are cool with it. It's going to work out. Everything's going to be good. So for you families out there that were waiting for your child to turn 14, if they're 13, let's get them screened this weekend down in Dover Iota.
Are we still going as high as age 24?
Yes, sir, we are.
Now, I don't know if you want me to promote this as such, but to me, that's a fantastic cheat. You're 21 years old. You've moved out of your parents' house, 3 years ago? You're on your own. Doctors are expensive. Health insurance is expected. This is something young folks should be concerned about. If you're in the area, go to Dover Iota and get a screening, or get one of the screenings up here closer to the Twin Cities if you're under 24. This could save your life, young man, young lady. Anyway, I had to get that in, Mike.
Thanks, Kenny. No, that's a good point. And remember, we as humans, we physically change a lot in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. So, some of these, what are we going on 10 years, 11 years now of having these screens
already?
Wow. So some of these people that we screened 10 years ago who were 14 years old are now at that 24-year-old mark, and a lot has changed in their bodies. That they maybe they're lifting weights more often or exercising more often, or maybe not as much as they were. So it's a freebie. Take advantage of it. It's absolutely free of charge. And, if you were to have this done in clinic or in the hospital or whatever, it would be thousands and thousands of dollars. So we're going to do it all for free.
And speaking of that, and once you've had a heart episode and lived through one, it's thousands of dollars every year when you go back to your cardiologist. So get this taken care of as a young person. The screening time's on Saturday. It runs 9 a.m. to 3:30. There's 2 different shifts for the volunteers, 8 a.m. to noon and noon to 4 p.m. If you would like to be a participant or a volunteer, go to playforpatrick.org and get hooked up with the Schoonovers and get yourself down there on Saturday. I know I want to say it again, Mike, Dover Iota. It's at 615 South Avenue Southeast in Iota, Minnesota, east of Rochester. Have I left anything out?
Not at all, Kenny. I think we're in good shape. So, I appreciate you sneaking us on a couple of days early so we could promote this a little bit more. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great screen. We just want to maximize as many kids as we can take a look at down there on Saturday.
Absolutely. And we're talking to you grandparents, parents, aunts, and uncles. Grab that kid in your life, drag them by the neck down there and get that kid screened. It'll give all of you a peace of mind. Meanwhile, if you need anything related to your automobile, repair, bodywork, tires, anything at all, you can have that at Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They are the official shop of Garage Logic, one of the best in the biz. The website, schoonoverbodyworks.com. The owner, Mike Schoonover. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Yellers. You guys have a great Positive Tuesday.
Yeah.
Sure.
Lundell.
Lynn
Close enough.
Lund, Pillow Paulo.
Here's a guy that's going to rip the governor.
No.
Pat Garofalo. I'm kidding.
All right, so I'm going to rip on Mike Lindell, though. I am going to do that. So for those that don't know, My Pillow founder Mike Lindell and perennial political gadfly is floating the idea of running for governor in the state of
Do
Minnesota.
you think he has it on his business card?
You think President Trump will make a stop for him? A little stump?
Well, I mean, I tell you what, that'd be one way to get me to dislike Trump even more. that would do it. He is not a credible candidate, and as I think people know, in Minnesota we had this sort of 2 years where the Democrats had total control, and then Republicans broke the trifecta last election. So now you have shared government. Lisa Damath, Republican Speaker of the House. So now it takes compromise for things to happen. A Mike Lindell campaign for governor, if he were the Republican nominee for governor, would guarantee that we would be going back to a DFL trifecta.
Not only that, you're hand wrapped gifting Tim Walz a third term.
Well, yeah, everything. I mean, like the Democrats, it would destroy independent votes down ballot for Republicans. It would put us back into a DFL trifecta, and he's not a credible candidate. And this year, I think Republicans, we got this convoluted caucus process where you got to spend 3 weekends and multiple hours every day to get a delegate vote, and then they endorse somebody. It seems like there's a lot of momentum right now to just go to the primary, that people want to trust what happens.
Walz has never been more beatable than he is right now. If you were in charge of the Minnesota GOP, who would you nominate?
Oh, well, I would say the best candidate right now who's running is Kristen Robbins. She's the one that chairs the Fraud Commission in the House of Representatives. She's from the West Metro. She's got executive experience, smart, hardworking, articulates a reasonable adult conservative message in a way that I think can resonate with more Minnesotans.
Stop for a second.
Yeah.
John, Chris, Matthew, have you heard of her?
Not once.
Yes.
Why haven't we? And I'm not being
John,
negative
have
toward
you?
her.
Well, she's a state legislator who just started her campaign a couple months ago. So I think, like, right now of the announced candidates, I think she's the best one. I think there are other people who could get in, who I think would be good.
Kendall Qualls?
Well, he's already in the race.
Okay, sorry, yes.
But I mean, he has. Kristen Robbins has won races and has, so Qualls is a good guy, but he has so far he hasn't been successful, right? So you've got Speaker of the House Lisa Damath, right? She would be a really good candidate.
Oh, I agree. She would be really good.
Yep. And Congressman Emmer, Congressman Stauber, Congressman Finstead. I think any one of those three.
I read recently, I think within the last 24 hours, that if Emmer threw his hat in the ring, that he would give Walz a real solid run and possibly, most likely, come out the winner. Do you agree with that?
I think it would be. I think it would be a good chance. But the thing is, like, if you're Tom Emmer, you are, he's in House leadership.
You're a little
in
more
Washington
powerful.
right now.
Yeah, he's going to say I'm more effective doing what I'm doing,
which is a totally defensible thing. Same thing with Congressman Finstead and with Stauber. Like, they're in the majority, and they're doing good things to improve. You don't have to agree with everything they're doing, but from a position of power, they're in a place right now where they can do things. You run as a Republican statewide in Minnesota, we've lost every election.
It's not like Mark Dayton being a senator saying, I'd really rather just be governor of Minnesota.
Something like that. No, so along those lines, those are kind of like who I see as like the top candidates. And it's really important that Republicans, if you're someone like me who wants divided government, again, I don't want either party to have total control of Minnesota government right now. There's too many crazy people in both parties. Mm-hmm. But if you want to have divided government, it's really important that Republicans have a strong candidate at the top of the ballot. If you go the Mike Lindell route, you're going to end up with the Democrats in total control. But the problem is this caucus process and then the August primary, normal people just don't tend to participate in that process.
Right.
Plus,
caveat.
There is one tiny little setback, is the fact that Mike doesn't live here.
Oh, why would we let little things like that?
Technicality.
He can move here 6 months.
He can establish residency.
Has Damath ever said anything about running for governor? Do you think she's entertained the idea?
So I'll give you like the straight answer. I don't know. I will just tell you that I served with her in the legislature, and she is very much keep your cards close to the vest sort of person. And knowing her right now, she would say, and this is my words, not hers, she would say, listen, the campaigns are way too long as it is. I'm going to be Speaker of the House. We got lots of stuff to work on to make things better now. Let's see where things go, and then I'll make a decision on that later.
So when she sees these clips or hears this on the show, she's going to curse your name, send you a text. What the hell are you thinking, Garofalo?
I thought you were annoying as a member. You're really annoying outside of the. No, but I really don't. I mean, she's the top elected Republican in the state of Minnesota. She's the Speaker of the House. Right. So, I mean, she has a duty and a responsibility to the membership right now of her caucus. I know she's. I guess I can give a little insight. Like, she's been doing a really good job fundraising for the House Republicans. And again, as someone who wants divided government, like I want Republicans and Democrats working together. And the question is, in this tribal warfare, political polarization environment we're in, is that what Minnesota wants? Or do they want to go the California, Oregon, Illinois route?
Sure.
And that's really what next year's election is going to be about.
So when you decide to run, what role do all of us get to play?
Like what, run to the bathroom, run out of this room? What do you mean run?
Well, I mean, Rook would want to be lieutenant governor, right? I would assume, Rook, is that what you...
The food cabinet. I want to be in the food cabinet of some testing food. And
here's the thing.
Don't call me. I don't want to be involved.
Kenny's out.
I'm not.
No, I mean, and I don't know if you're like teasing me, if you're hazing me, or...
See what reaction we get.
All of the above. I love public service. I really enjoyed being in elected office because you get to meet so many interesting people, you get to learn so much, and you do get to work and make things better. But the reality is people who are in the state of Minnesota right now, people who are center right or center left, don't win statewide elections right now. They haven't for the last centrist to win an election in Minnesota was Tim Pawlenty in 2006. And so until that thing changes, until that mindset of Minnesotans changes.
But you can't tell me that people would go to the caucus and vote for Mike Pillowhead.
I sure as hell can tell you they would do that. Because I want you to think about the number one criteria for people in the Republican side who go to the caucuses is. The number one criteria is they're passionate and they have lots of free time.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
not a good combo.
Right. Normal
people don't have time to dedicate all that time and
Rook,
effort.
The thing is, outstate Minnesota, especially to what Pat just said, outstate Minnesota feels so left out of any of this conversation that they would absolutely vote for him. 100%.
Because Royce White, look how many counties. Royce White is a human disaster, and this guy, look how many counties he won. So when it comes to the caucuses, it measures like who's got the free time to show up on a Tuesday night for 3 hours, then come back for your county convention a month later, then a month later come back for your congressional district convention, and then you're going to dedicate a weekend in May to go to your state convention where you're going to have to put up money for hotel, for driving there and back. It's a multi-night of it's people who have free time and are super passionate. And by the way, not a broad. There used to be a time where this actually worked. It doesn't work anymore. And so
because of accessibility, and we don't need all this, or it can be done on computers.
No, it used to be that like the people who participated in this process, they were like civic leaders, civically engaged.
Okay,
it wasn't free time; it was a commitment to the civic cause. People who were well informed. They really were a more of a quality versus quantity argument. And now it's just people who think the Earth is flat, or look at the crazy stuff Mike Lindell said, right? It's just like
and he still has somewhat of a following somehow.
Absolutely, yeah.
How? I don't know.
No, and again, and people go, "Oh, well, you're carrying the Democrat talking points." Listen, there's plenty of crazy Democrats on the left-hand side too. But I mean, in the interest of fairness, this is the biggest problem Minnesota has in politics right now, is that the crazy wings of both parties need them to win, right? So the Republicans, in order to win, they have to keep the crazy people, get them to show up.
Satisfied,
Yep, and the Democrats have the exact same problem. The DSAers who want to build government-run grocery stores, who think we should have a city program for shoveling sidewalks so people can't shovel it. The idea that we're going to have a wealth tax. Like, they need those people to be there to show up for them. And this is until the normal and adult people decide, this is going to keep getting worse. So that's what we need. We need adulthood.
You know what we need? We need to hear from Matthew and our fine folks at Ray and Welter.
Great picture.
Johnny, that was an excellent first segment of news, by the way. We'll get that
John, do that one again, will you?
Well, I'm backing her up to the pay window today.
Yes, you are. Yes, it is. Well, go ahead.
I would like to tell you about this family-run business. It is Welter Heating, and they have been around for over 120 years. And what do? Well, they serve the garage logicians in the surrounding metro area with pride. Their certified techs will come out and close out that air conditioning unit, even though you might not want to call them yet. They're probably going to be busy for the next week or so on with the nice temp that's coming up. But if you put away your boiler, if you put away your heating unit and it was making noises last year, don't mess with that. It is eventually going to get cold, and if you get on their schedule right now, they'll tune it up for you. They'll check it out to make sure it's tip-top shape for that crazy cold winter that is just around the corner. 'Tis the season, and Welter is here with 4 generations to serve you. Rick and the family do a great job. Ray started all this a long time ago, and you know what? They pride themselves on being full of common sense, giving you an upfront. You know, when they came and did work at my home, they were to the T, down to the dollar and down to the time. They were in and out in no time. So I've worked with the family several times, and I really want you to put away your cooling unit, start up your heating unit, or if you got trouble with your air purification system. 612-825-6867, welterheating.com. Tell them.
Here's a guy that's going to talk about Hofferman Water and Connecticut, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not on that schedule, well, then shame on you, because right now is a great time to get on that schedule to have my friends at Hofferman Water and Connecticut come out for that free water analysis. You do that one of 2 ways. You can call them directly at 612-895-2440, or better yet, go to their website, HoffermanWater.com, and as long as you're on that website, you can see every single water treatment system that they have to offer, whether you're in the market for a brand new water softener, maybe an iron rust and odor filtration system, or a brand new drinking water system. Or you know what? Better yet, get them all. Why not? I did that a number of years ago, and it's made an amazing difference in the quality of my water, and it'll do the same thing for you as well. It'll cut down on your salt usage, but it will also protect your appliances, because bad water is terrible. So solve that today with my friends at Hofferman Water and Connecticut. Once again, 612-895-2440, or visit HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast. Here's John Haidt in the newsroom. Better late than never.
Thank you, Chris. This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. I know this is highly irregular for a news guy, but I would endorse Pat Garofalo for governor immediately.
I thought he was going to say Mike Lindell.
I'm feeling very comfortable because he's expressing many of the things I express, and sometimes I feel like an outsider, shall we say. There, I feel much better.
Will you ever seek public office again, in all seriousness?
Can we get to the news?
Okay.
Sorry, Pat. Didn't mean to bring
Welcome to the club, by the way. You're one of us now.
A couple of sports notes before we get on to any news stories. The Commie, as Joe likes to call him, has signed the biggest contract in NHL history.
Let's go.
The Wild have signed Kirill Kaprizov to an 8-year, $138 million pact. That pact starts after next season.
John, is that U.S. dollars or rubles?
Wait, help me do the math. What's that breakdown? How much per year? 19?
17 a year.
Okay.
And in the baseball world, this broke right after we stopped recording yesterday. Rocco Baldelli out as manager of the Twins after 7 seasons, fired by the team, and the search for a new manager is immediately underway.
I don't think he'd mind me sharing this, but because, us here in the Garage Logic / Monday Night Sports Talk studios, timing has always been our best thing here. That news broke literally 15 minutes after we got done recording Monday Night Sports Talk. But Royce made a really good point about that. They're probably doing him a favor, meaning the Twins, in the direction that this organization is headed. Just saying, here's $8 million. Enjoy your family.
Is that what he gets?
Well, it's about that between what he was owed and then a buyout on the following year or whatever.
Okay.
But that's probably what he's going to get.
I take $8 million to sit on my duff.
Think about that. The
I do it
Cleveland
for a lot less right now.
Cleveland Guardians had basically the same record as the Twins when they did the fire sale, and the Guardians won their division.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The playoffs start right now. See you guys later.
Yeah, they're on right now. I mean, I think.
Right.
In news, update to a story we had yesterday. No candidate for Minneapolis mayor will have the DFL endorsement. That includes the candidate who once held it briefly. We told you about this yesterday. Last night, they had some arguments. They were heard on whether to uphold the DFL's Constitution, Rules, and Bylaws Committee decision to remove the party's endorsement of Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fateh. The CRBC received 85% support from the voting body, leading to its decision being upheld. Now, no candidate will officially move forward with the state or city's DFL endorsement. One person died, 2 others, including a student, hospitalized after a head-on crash involving a school bus this morning in Andover. The Anoka County Sheriff's Office said a pickup truck and trailer was headed north on Roanoke Street Northwest, and it crossed the center line near 175th Avenue Northwest, collided head-on with a school bus around 7 this morning. The driver of the truck pronounced dead at the scene. 5 students were on the bus at the time of the crash. One of those students, as well as the woman driving, were taken to a hospital for treatment of injuries that are not considered life-threatening. The former boyfriend of Feeding Our Future's founder, Amy Bach, charged with tax crimes.
No.
What?
According to a news release from the Minnesota Department of Revenue.
Oh, my God.
His name, it took me a minute to figure this out. I had to read it a couple times, but his name is Empress Malcolm Watson Jr.
Oh, that's a cool name.
He faces 2 counts of filing false or fraudulent tax returns, 1 count of failing to file individual income tax returns, and 3 counts of failing to pay income taxes. The department says that investigators started looking into Watson's tax history after getting a tip related to a separate criminal investigation of his significant other, that would be Amy Bach. From 2020 to 2022, Watson received over $1 million for work he did while working for Feeding Our Future, as well as work that his remodeling company did for the now-defunct nonprofit. State officials say Watson significantly underreported his taxable income by hundreds of thousands of dollars and even failed to file a return or pay any income tax in 2022. He owes $64,000 in income tax, according to the department. He's also accused of spending over $680,000 on travel, jewelry, and vehicles by making cash withdrawals or transferring money to other accounts. Bach's trial jurors were shown photos of the 2 trips and luxury cars.
You know, as someone that used to hold a political office seat, I'm sure all of that renovation worked from his company. That's all on the up and up for that nonprofit, right?
Of course, and he reported that as taxable income. And you know what's interesting about, and I know like we're getting a lot of this coverage of fraud, and for people like this may be like the first time they're hearing about it, or they think this is relatively new. For those of us who like worked in the legislature and were involved in this, this is a decade-old story. This has been going on for well over 10 years. And we would highlight this, we would speak about this, and there were kind of different stages of this. At first, there was denial. Then there was the allegations that we were, those of us who were highlighting were being racist. Then they said we were over-exaggerating it. And now we've gotten to the point of, well, we didn't give government the proper tools for them to stop this fraud. That's kind of, we're in this excuse-making section. And I'll just tell anyone who's listening, like, we don't need to change any laws.
They're already there.
Like, to stop giving money to crooks. We don't, like, fraud's already illegal, right? There's no obligation. But these fraudsters, you know, trying to bribe a juror at a federal trial
with a bag of cash.
Yeah, you know, and so you look at all the fraud that they were engaged as systemically, like providing false information, millions of dollars, misappropriation of funds, trying to bribe a juror. Do you think that these fraudsters, do you think there's any chance that they've been involved in elections at all? Or do you think they were like, no, that's too far? Like, we're not willing to cross that line to violate the sanctity of the American election process.
Wow.
I mean, these. I would encourage like your listeners to go out and look up acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson's what he's saying. Okay, guys, we are scratching the surface.
His direct quote was "tip of the iceberg."
Yes, there's a tip of the iceberg. It is a bottomless well of fraud. Like, The only reason they're not prosecuting more people right now is just a matter of resources.
They just don't have enough help.
And this goes all the way back to the home daycare stuff, where you'll remember there were reports that were they said they were falsely labeled of people going through security with hundreds of thousands of dollars going through the Minneapolis airport security checkpoints. This has been going on for a while. It's an extensive fraud network, and it's not like they're doing like super hard investigative work. The people who committed the Feeding Our Future fraud, like they're the ones that have these other companies that are in the autism scandal. They own the company.
The adult daycare. The adult daycare, the housing, transportation stuff.
Medicaid.
Yes. All the Medicaid reimbursement services, the waiver programs that a lot of these were, nation leading, and I'm using air quotes right now. All this stuff, it's the same people at the same geographic locations in the same office buildings with the same business model. The stuff they were doing to rip off home daycares, that's the stuff they're doing for the autism services. And I think the point that I think is getting people's attention now, and this has been highlighted for years, but now the press is covering it, is a lot of times the recipients, the parents, are in on it. So the autism services, what was happening, and again, this was in the federal indictment, okay? Mm-hmm. People would be recruited to bring their kids to these centers. They didn't have autism. They would falsely label them as having autism, and then they would give the parents money for doing it. And at some point in the process, the parents would threaten the autism center to say they would get paid more money at another autism center if they didn't give them more money. $1,500 a head was what the goal was.
How high up the ladder does this go? Let me ask you it this way. Answer it any way you want. How many people on the inside are on the take?
Number one, you have to define what inside means. So
okay, that hold up an elected position.
Official.
I am reluctant to answer that question publicly.
All right.
Is that fair?
Yep, 100%.
But you think maybe there's someone behind the curtain?
No, I think what you have to understand is that these fraudsters are really, really good. Okay? So whenever you had low-level employees who would push back or whistleblowers, they would play the racism card. And that is a powerful defense.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
You go to someone who's working 40 hours a week in their office in St. Paul, they just listen. They want to do their job. They go to their boss. And they say, hey, this looks kind of weird. What's going on here? And all of a sudden, you start getting pressure from higher-up political appointees. And then these people saying, you're doing this to me because of where I'm from. Okay?
You're racist, you're Islamophobic, you're everything.
Whatever the allegations are, right? How can you defend this? And these individuals, it's normal that if you're an employee and you're not getting support from your manager, what are you going to do? You're going to back up. Be like, hey, this is not, I didn't sign up to get criticized for this. So how much of it is orchestrated involvement? How much of it is just negligence, where it's like, hey, I don't really have the backing to go after these guys? That's a matter of perspective. But I will tell you, we are not at the end of this story. We are at the very, very beginning of this. This is...
You're kidding me. What do you mean by the very beginning of this? You're saying that however many billions of dollars we've already accumulated in known fraud, you're saying that this is going to be infinitely more than this?
Yes.
Holy.
This is and again, this is stuff that many of us have been highlighting. I know you guys have had Bill Glahn on before. He's done a lot of work on this. You have to look at the waivered Medicaid services. So this is everything that gets that for these programs. If you just do an analysis of how much money is being spent in Minnesota, and then you compare that to what's going on in other states, we are way beyond others. In this last press conference, the U.S. Attorney, Joe Thompson, highlighted that the guys down in Miami, which is like DARPA for fraud, they're like, wow, you guys have got a fraud problem up there in Minnesota. So we have it worse than they do down in Miami. So just think about the size and scope of that. This is not going anywhere. It's just a matter of how much resources we're going to put into catching, because now we know the parents are involved, right? And we know the parents were bidding the autism services against each other in terms of what their kickbacks were. And this money, it leaves a paper trail. You cannot move these sums of money without showing digital footprints of where it went. And so right now, they're just matching up addresses. They're matching up names, phone numbers. There's a lot of connections that people go, like you can see these things are adjacent to each other. And this isn't going anywhere. People are going to keep getting indicted. They're going to keep getting prosecuted. And we'll see where it goes. But we don't have enough prosecutors to charge all the people who were involved in this racket.
Wow. All right, then.
That's a positive.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you think it'll get to a point where Joe Thompson will go Mary Moriarty saying, low-level fraud we're not going to prosecute, like low-level traffic stuff?
I don't think
I'm kidding, because I know Joe's doing a really good job. I was totally joking.
No, but I mean, like, it's not an exaggeration to say, and this is something that I feel comfortable sharing because it's been public. It's not that hard to go to these offices where these healthcare facilities are and see closed doors, locked with paper covering the windows, and there's no one in there. So when's the last time you went to a medical doctor or a clinic? But usually those are bustling activities. There's appointments and stuff. It's not that hard to catch them. It's just a matter of resources. And by the way, we're focusing on fraud here. There's a lot of other stuff that these guys have to go on. It's just a matter of how much the U.S. Attorney's Office, how much they want to commit to this. But like right now, I would tell you this, right? I feel confident sharing this right now. There are people who have documented and been convicted of committing fraud who are still getting paid by the state of Minnesota today.
How?
I feel confident.
How?
Gabe, there's your tweet.
I feel 100% confident that is happening. This is something that when I was in the legislature, I highlighted over 2 years ago. And I said I knew this was happening because a whistleblower had contacted us. But I want people to understand, like, for legislators, how complicated this is. Like, when I was a legislator and people would, like, call me or reach out to me to be a whistleblower, you have enormous responsibility as a legislator to handle it right. Because on one hand, the person who's reporting this information to you, if you go to the wrong people with it, you may accidentally out them. And then you could cause serious problems to them because maybe, they've come into this information.
And you don't know who's connected to who.
Right. Yeah. On the other hand, maybe someone's coming to you with nefarious purposes, right? Like maybe they're lying to you to discredit your argument, and then you go public with it without getting all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Or if you do refer it for criminal prosecution, they don't want to do anything with it. I mean, it seems to me like one of there's so many stories that come from these fraud scandals, but like we have a state elected office whose job it is to monitor the nonprofit and this industry. It's the Attorney General's office. Okay, like how, like it would seem like somebody should be talking to Keith Ellison about this, going, "Hey, why didn't you do nothing?"
Either way, yeah.
Like, I mean, again, you don't have to be a partisan Republican. You can be a good government progressive Democrat who's like, I don't want my money getting ripped off going over to Kenya to buy condominiums, which is what happened, right? Like, these are reasonable questions, but And
if he says, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if he says that, he will endear himself to others. Not that a Republican is going, "Oh, you're the greatest, Elson," but they'll say, fair play.
He had all sorts of excuses when asked.
Well, he did, but then he got his hand he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and
no, but remember before I was talking about how you have this polarized political climate where the left needs the far left to win and the right needs the far right to win.
Right.
This is the consequences of polarization, right? I mean, I could pivot here and I could point out what a shit show the state of Texas is right now. They got their current attorney general is a crook and a bum. He got impeached by the House, but he didn't get convicted by the Senate down there. He's now running for the U.S. Senate. And he's probably going to win, right? Texas has the exact same problem with corruption in terms of their elected officials, not the fraud stuff that we have, but down in Texas, Republicans are reluctant to turn on him because it's so polarized and partisan. And up here, Democrats have been that way. So that's why the referendum next year, you're going to keep seeing Walz and Ellison and other Democrats lean into this like, Donald Trump.
We're not Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump. If you vote for any Republican, then you're Trump's winning. And that's a very powerful message to those who are on the left side of the political spectrum,
or who are in the middle.
Right. Yeah. If you're someone who doesn't like Trump, but is it accurate? No, but it is. It's also.
But it's effective,
right? It's also one of the reasons why Governor Walz keeps talking about gun control. Right now, for those who are knowledgeable about guns, you know that it makes no sense to say that. Okay, we're going to go out and go door to door, and we're going to make people turn in their semi-automatic rifles.
All right, you know what? We normally would take a break here, come back with this day in history, but I know Kenny wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
And so let's.
No, we're in the middle of news. And we're out of time. So.
I just wanted to say the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
John, this has been your best newscast in the history of the Garage Logic podcast.
I could have been practicing guitar all morning, not writing news, huh?
Well, I thought you had a question about that, Kenny. I did not mean to take a left-hand turn here by any means. But go ahead. No?
Huh?
No, I got nothing. No.
I don't know.
Would you like me to chime in, or are we good?
Well, I was just going to say, Pat, normally having you in is always great, but you've depressed me even more than Capella did yesterday.
No, I'm not depressed. Sorry. It's like, listen, again, I come back to what I said about San Francisco. Okay, progressive voters there figured out a way to send a message and reform their government. Right?
Yeah.
And that meant saying that we're going to put ethics, integrity, and common sense ahead of partisan politics. So coming into the next election, are we going to have a divided government model where people are working together and we kind of fix some of this stuff? Or are we going to lean into more of a, one state solution where one political party has total control? And that's really what the next election is about.
So the key objective then is to just let's put good candidates forward to get those offices.
In both parties.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You're the best, man. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey, as
Thanks,
appreciate
Patrick.
it. Nice seeing you guys.
On this day.
Yeah,
we're not doing that.
left
No,
early.
I'm not doing that. All right. That was Pat Garofalo. Thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, you need to subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, you can watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon. You can also see full segments. There's video shorts. There's behind-the-scenes footage. It's all there for you. Just search Garage Logic on YouTube and also search Garage Logic on all of the social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And also, don't forget to sign up for the Daily Logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up today at garagelogic.com.
This is Ricey for the Canopy Group, and we have a challenge for you. Call your current home and auto insurance agent and ask them to shop your coverage with 16 different companies and give you the top 3 quotes. Go ahead, ask, and be ready for a long pause because most agents represent only one company. That's right, one, and they're counting on you to not shop around. But the Canopy Group does the shopping for you. Their team of 50 professionals works the entire insurance marketplace to find the best coverage and value for your specific needs. And once you're a Canopy Group client, you're part of their annual review program, meaning they keep working for you year after year, saving you a small fortune over time. Stop settling, start saving. Visit thecanopygroup.com today and let them do the shopping while you enjoy the saving.
Time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh, and he is there for you for that free, yes, I did use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice. And he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, oh boy, Josh, money, money, money. Who couldn't use $14 million? But boy, oh boy, $9 billion?
$9 billion. I realize that there are some people that want to shake down the state or federal government for whether it's 14 million or 1 million people committing acts of fraud. When you're starting to create some wealth, or wealth is being created from an enterprise that you bought into and helped to develop further, now we're talking some real live money and not broad. That's why I've always focused on companies that create a product or service that people want and are able to grow that business over time, whether it be companies involved in the internet, which is one area of focus, whether it's companies involved in the leisure business, another area that I have focused in, or in developing real assets around real estate. Those have been my focus. As you know, that I have avoided investing in industrial companies. I've avoided investing in insurance companies and banks and pharmaceuticals, although pharmaceuticals and the development thereof, we'll say on the high end of the risk spectrum, have definitely enhanced and lengthened our lives. Given this period of time with a lot more volatility, and I continue to recommend keeping up to 30% in cash and the balance invested in growth companies that focus primarily on internet-related companies, which would include Internet 3.0, artificial intelligence, and companies involved in leisure. I do believe that even with this volatility, investments in these areas should prove profitable over time. And, of course, there's going to be volatility along the way. Talking about volatility and talking about leisure, well, we've got three companies in the news. Two privately held, one publicly held. Publicly held. Now, I'm not a Walmart shopper, but I'm sure many of you, Walmart is extending their participation in sports and are partnering up with the Spanish La Liga, the top soccer league in Spain. Their aim, of course, is to develop partnerships overseas, send their brand, we'll say, in Spain and elsewhere, and then you leverage that for their partnership for next year's major soccer event, the FIFA World Cup, which will take place in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Walmart does big business in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, as well as having business in Europe and, of course, in China. This could really provide some enhancements, we'll say, a company you would not necessarily associate with leisure, as Walmart is still the largest grocer in the United States, if not in the world. Now, two private companies got some huge valuation increases. One, the Chicago Bears saw their valuation increase from $6.2 billion to $9 billion as the estate of Andrew McKinnon was sold to existing team owners. McKinnon owned 2.43% of the Bears, and his estate sold that to existing team owners, which would up that valuation, we'll say almost 50% for the Bears, from $6.2 billion to $9 billion. That is a lot of dough for a franchise, or say, that has been definitely up and down. And then the Kraft family, which owns the Patriots, sold 8% of their ownership stake to some new minority partners, puts the valuation of the Patriots a little over at $9.2 billion. Sports franchises have seen their valuations go up and go up very much so, on the backs, of course, of popularity, advertising, TV revenues, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we talked yesterday that Roger Goodell is wanting to go back to renegotiate his TV rights deals, as he saw rights deals for NBA and the NHL increasing. So he wants to renegotiate a deal that was not set to expire until 2029. In all likelihood, they'll probably be able to get, I'll say, some more on the board. How can you participate? Well, You're not going to necessarily be an owner of a private sports franchise because there are only a few. But you could participate in some of the public franchise through ownership in Madison Square Garden Sports, which owns the Knicks and the Rangers, and then there is the Atlanta Braves. I believe they're the only three remaining publicly owned sports or major sports franchises. So otherwise, the focus is going to be on getting in on the TV rights or looking at some odd sports, pro wrestling and ultimate fighting. Now they're under the umbrella of one of my favorite companies, TKO, which is the name of the company and also the market symbol. Sports will continue to do well in most economic environments. And then, of course, you can participate with some of the media broadcasters, whether that's Apple, Amazon, Fox, Paramount, or even Disney's ESPN.
Excellent advice, as always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
$9 billion.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of guilt there. Have a great weekend, Chris.
You too, Josh.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.